Here's your only warning. I'm not mincing words. I'm going to narrate a decent bit. I'm going to tell you what happened, what I think, and why. I'm going to stop the video to do so, to make points. Stop watching now if you're an idiot wanting to whine later about your choice to watch and listen. Here's my intro. The copsuckers, police themselves also, think I should be gentle, loving, and hugging because, well, the police are such heroes deserving of respect and a pat on the back, even when they aren't. Sorry, copsuckers, today just ain't your fucking day, because I hate cops like this, and I have more respect for the terrorist wanting to kill us than for this officer, alleged officer, excuse me, and his kind. Let's go ahead and filter out some of the copsuckers, the all cops are heroes, and the, quote, please don't offend my sensibilities with your opinions and stuff I don't want to hear, see, or read, but I'm too fucking stupid to not watch even after a warning because I have two fucking working neurons in my brain, and one of them is mentally fucking retarded while the other one only fires when I hit myself really hard in the left temple, quote, people. Here's the story and here's the facts. You can watch my 3 videos regarding Hopkinsville judge and the county attorney on my channel if you so choose. Next, I was stopped for speeding. I have no problem with that. It's not even an issue to me. However, what transpired during the stop is where I decided this oxygen waster should be left in a fucking ditch. And I mean that. And I don't care if you like that. And I'd celebrate his demise because he represents and embodies exactly and most of what I talk about when I tell you how the government and the police see you when you invoke a right, constitutional or otherwise, and how they use it against you, and how they are cowards whom have no grasp on rights and are scared of their own shadows, and that when you invoke a right, they will call you, quote, uncooperative, unquote, and further, they will use your use of a right to circumvent and ignore your other rights because, quote-unquote, safety. I have nothing good to say about this alleged officer, and I'll leave you the number and name to call down and either suck up to them, copsuckers, or let them know what you think about this in any fashion you choose. P.S. I also believe this is the same officer that got fired from Hopkinsville before he transferred to Dawson Springs, which also touches on another subject that I've made mention of with the Deputy Cobb video regarding officers switching departments when they fuck up at one. Quick notice here. Everything I have to say in this video is protected under the First Amendment. I am in no way making threats, and am only wishing ill will and expressing my hopes, dreams, and opinions about this alleged officer, and that I truly don't care what happens to him, and would celebrate the loss of another traitorous piece of oxygen-wasting shit if something were to happen to him. Just my opinions.
How you doing, sir? Got your license registration on you? Any guns, knives, hand grenades, anything like in the car?
Stupid one, where they try to put you at ease and act like it's a joke, that they're standing there with a badge and a gun and probably going to violate your rights, possibly even fucking shoot and kill you when they say handguns, hand grenades, or fucking bazookas. Yeah, shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot. So he asked me if I have any guns on me, and yet he admits later that he saw it. My lawfully carried gun was lawfully carried in a secure holster on my hip as a law-abiding citizen who was stopped for speeding, by the way. Not fleeing and eluding, not probable bank robbery, speeding. Keep that in mind. For the idiots out there that want to say, well, you could have been fleeing from a robbery, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't know that. And that's not the way freedoms work. You don't get to go, well, you were speeding, hell, you could have killed 5 people, so I'm just going to fucking pull you out of your car and disarm you as soon as you invoke a constitutional right. If you think like that, please go stick your head in a fucking blender.
I don't answer questions.
You don't answer questions?
No, sir.
Okay, can you step out of the car for me, please?
Sure.
At this point, I invoke a constitutional right. My right to Fifth Amendment. My right to not incriminate myself. My right to not answer questions of a government agent who is pursuing an investigation against me for whatever alleged or believed crime. And also at this point, Dick Cheese there decides that I must be a criminal or I must be a threat to him. Now keep in mind, I'm talking in a normal tone. I'm not putting up any red flags. I'm not making any threatening comments. I'm only refusing to answer his investigatory questions. And I am using words like, sir, I am being respectful, which I now thoroughly fucking regret. And trust me, if I ever catch him out to do videos on his fucking piece of shit, sir will be the last word you hear out of my mouth.
Can you step out of the car for me, please?
I'm going to.
Keep your hands where I can see them, okay?
Why?
Because you got a gun on your hip, that's why.
So he wants me out of the car as soon as I invoke a constitutional right. He wants me to keep my hands where he can see them, which is fine. The problem is where it all started from. As soon as I invoked a constitutional right, this fucking tyrannical, traitorous, piece of oxygen wasting, better off aborted, fucking end of watch candidate, piece of shit, suddenly decides that I'm the bad guy because I invoked a right. It's what I keep telling you people. This is the mentality of fucking tyrannical pieces of shit like Nosbusch at Dawson Springs PD. So he made the request the second time as I was gathering things to get out of the vehicle, to which I immediately responded indicating I was compliant and was going to comply. And here's a little hint. I only asked why so I could get him to say it on camera. Next.
Yeah, I'm a lawful gun owner.
Okay, that's fine, but you said you don't answer questions, so just step out.
I don't answer questions, but that doesn't make me a threat to you.
Okay.
Let me correct something here. I said that doesn't make me a threat to him. Well, from my intent and my stance, it didn't make me a threat to him. But that's how tyrants see you. As soon as you invoke a right or you refuse to waive your rights to give them what they want, well then suddenly you are a threat. And if this doesn't fucking prove it to you, I don't know what will. Further, did you hear what happened? Did you hear him say that he wanted me out of the car and he wanted me to keep my hands where he can see them because I said I don't answer questions? He is literally proving my point. His literal mindset is, you invoked a constitutional right, you refuse to answer questions, you stated that to me, you're not waiving your right to me as the god in the fucking badge here, so I want you out of the car, I want your hands where I can see them, and he goes further later on to disarm me, which you'll see also. Also, note him standing there with his gun out. If you want to know why people hate cops and why they think they don't give a shit about rights, you can look no further. Hell, I have more respect for people like Abby Black and fucking Sergeant Morrow in my Constitutional Cop Watch 2 and whatever the other one video is, where they both admitted that they would go and confiscate your firearms or violate your rights for their job. At least they pick a fucking side. This guy just wears his badge and his clown costume, believing he's fucking hero every goddamn day, and walks around, and I am probably not the first person that he's violated the rights of or fucking treated like a criminal because they invoked a constitution or other such right, and he's even too much of a fucking coward to admit that he doesn't care about people's fucking rights.
You said you don't answer questions, so you're already being a little uncooperative.
Case in point again, you said you don't answer questions, i.e. you refuse to waive your constitutional right to not incriminate yourself or bear witness against yourself in my amazing 10-badged God presence. Therefore, you are, quote, already being a little uncooperative, end quote. So by his tyrannical mindset argument, if you invoke a right, if you refuse to tell him everything that you've done so that he can convict you of it in a court of law, which is his fucking job to gather evidence for, then you are needing to be removed from your vehicle, you're needing to put your hands on the trunk, and you are being uncooperative, and then he proceeds to the next step, which is disarming a law-abiding citizen who's been compliant, only exercising his constitutional right to remain silent.
Well, transit whip, please, okay? I'm just going to take your gun off of you, okay?
Oh, you're taking my gun?
No. I'm for your safety and mine.
Do you see how it all builds? I exercise a constitutional right. I need to be removed from the vehicle. I need to have my hands on the trunk. He needs to take my gun for your safety and mine, he says. A situation he created and escalated, getting me out of the vehicle in the first fucking place and having me come back there, as opposed to dealing with me as if I was a law-abiding citizen who was stopped for speeding. I didn't match the description, neither did my vehicle match the description of a fleeing suspect from a fucking multi-murder scene. He didn't do this for his safety and mine. He did it for his cowardice and fucking stupidity. Not to mention his ignorance of rights. All mixed in together with his lack of fucking give a shit about the fact that someone invoking a constitutional right is not to be disrespected, but to be respected as long as I don't do anything else that raises flags. But tyrants like this have no respect for your rights, people, and they deserve whatever the fuck they get. As a matter of fact, let me say this. At some point in time, if it ever happens that we the people get tired of this fucking bullshit and having our rights trampled by 10-badge fucking dictator tyrant pieces of oxygen waste and shit like this, it's gonna be for their safety. And there's probably gonna end up being a lot of dead fucking cops, even some who don't fucking deserve it, laying in ditches. And I can promise you one thing. If that day ever comes, or this guy ends up getting his fucking comeuppance and somebody who is an actual criminal just dumps in his fucking ass because he's too stupid to understand that having the gun openly carried probably indicates that I'm not the fucking threat, especially when you couple all the totality of the circumstances and the way I addressed him, when he finally gets his comeuppance, if it ever happens, by some real criminal, I promise you I will be down in fucking Dawson Springs with a goddamn sign standing in front of their fucking apartment that says, "One tyrant down, question mark to go."
No, you're violating my rights right now by disarming me for no reason.
Do you understand?
I understand that you're violating my rights right now by disarming me.
Okay?
Just hold tight, okay? Just hold tight while I ignore your rights. Just hold tight while I penalize you for invoking a constitutional right to not bear witness against yourself, to not aid me, a government agent, in an investigation against you. Just hold tight while, all because of that, I want you out of the car. I want you back at the back. I want your hands on the trunk. I want you disarmed. I want you treated like a criminal. That's why. So just hold tight for me to do all that, okay? No, it's not okay. And officers like you are the reason why good officers get hurt and killed. Officers like you are the reason why people like BLM and everybody else is screaming, defund and abolish the fucking police. And last but not least, officers like you are the exact reason why people like me and others, whom used to support law enforcement to a huge extent, have come around full circle to see you for what you are and to believe your profession to be nothing more than a hostile, domestic occupying force, which may have some good in it, but is overwhelmed with the fucking bad pieces of shit, oxygen wasting, end of watch fucking tyrants like yourself.
I understand that you're violating my rights right now by disarming me for no reason. I understand that.
Here's a few more comments for you. You can call them critiques. First off, did you see how close he was standing to me? If he was really in fear when he asked me to get out of the car, he would have fallen back, created distance, and possibly taken cover. He wouldn't have stood that close where I could have fucking grabbed him and disarmed him if I wanted to. And I promise you, I absolutely am fucking confident in the fact that in his position where he was standing, if I wanted to disarm him, it would have been fucking done. I'd have shoved his ass into traffic in front of a fucking truck. His stance was shitty. Both feet were beside each other, facing the fucking car, which means he was facing me, which means he had no foot and back to fucking support himself or to counter fucking any weight shift that I would have done to him. But moving on. Next, I've got a little message for you, you fucking idiot. You know when you took that gun that you could see and walked away? You know how fucking dumb you are and fucking tactically unsound, and yet you're claiming fear for your safety and mine, and you take a gun from someone that's allegedly a threat to you because I invoked a constitutional right, and you turn around and put your back to me as you walk back? Hey, dickhead, I had another gun on me. If I wanted you fucking dead, if I was really a threat to you, you'd have had 2 pops in the back of your fucking dome. So please, don't try to pretend like you're some fucking super dick. You're a fucking idiot, and everything you did was based upon the fact that I invoked a constitutional right. Your tactics were shit. Your reasons were shit. Your stance and weight distribution was shit. Your positioning was shit. Your alleged fear was bullshit. I'm only surprised you didn't also decide that you were going to pat me down for other fucking weapons. You're a piece of shit. You're a horrible cop. You're tactically unsound. You're a horrible person. You're a fucking tyrant. And I hope you end up in the fucking very ditch that you can see in this video. And I hope I get to drive by and fucking record it. See, you can treat law-abiding citizens like this because I'm law-abiding. You can get away with this shit because we the people haven't had enough yet. But make no fucking mistake. You are a fucking tyrannical oxygen waster. And from what I've seen and what I tend to believe, from what I've found, you're also another one of those piece of shit cops that gets fired for dishonesty or violating rights or some other stupid fucking thing because you're too fucking stupid to be a cop and you shouldn't be one and you don't have the integrity, you don't deserve the fucking badge, and you tarnish it for any good officers out there and you have no honor. But sure enough, there's always another piece of shit department like Dawson Springs that's ready to snap you up and fucking put you right back out on the street once you get fired from somewhere else. And what the fuck does that say about that department that they would hire you after being fired for dishonesty and insubordination? Here's my final comment, so you can expect this video to go on just a bit fucking longer, and if you don't like it, you should have stopped it already. I believe this is the current chief. I believe this is a picture of the current chief. I'd have to go back and check. But from what I understand, and I spoke to the current chief, he is not the one who made the decision to hire him. So I can't speak as to the current chief's mentality. He didn't seem like a bad guy. He did seem a little defensive of his officer, and that's to be expected because they all do that. But the fact is this, I don't know about the chief, but I know that that officer is probably still working there. I know that that officer was fired from another department and then got hired on there by apparently the previous chief, and I know that this chief probably didn't give him jack shit in the way of penalty for the way he fucking acted. He probably patted him on the back, and I'm not 100% about that either. It's just my guess based upon the normal track record and the back the blue no matter fucking what mentality. In my opinion, speaking specifically and at this point only about the alleged officer Nosbusch, he is an end-of-watch candidate, and as far as I'm concerned, he has no care about someone using their rights. He doesn't care, because if your rights contradict his belief in his superiority, his fucking badge, and his right to have you just confess all sins to him like he's Jesus fucking Christ himself, then he will just be all over trying to penalize you for it. And as far as I'm concerned, I would have no sadness at reading nor hearing that someone rid the world of his tyrannical, cowardly, and traitorous existence. He is not one of the good ones, and yes, I believe there are good ones. As a matter of fact, I have often stated that I would stop to aid an officer if I saw him or her in distress, even some of the idiots like some in my past videos, because I have a conscience and a moral compass compelling me to do so. So I didn't have to read about something I could have prevented later on. However, in this guy's case, I'd go for a safe distance, turn around, record, and then watch the video repeatedly later like pornography as I rubbed one out in a dark room somewhere. Because watching the world be rid of one more worthless fucking piece of shit tyrant like that tool would give me a hard-on for so long that Viagra customer service would tell me to get to a frickin' ER ASAP. And here's another little fucking note for you. If you're a fucking police officer and you want to cry and whine because I tell you what I believe about one of your own, or you want to enforce or endorse or support this kind of fucking activity by one of your own, do it. And you know what? You and Nosbusch can go fornicate each other's asses behind the station with a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat. It's all the same to me. If this is how he treats a law-abiding citizen, in the totality of the circumstances here, lawfully carrying, openly, not trying to hide it, not reaching for things, being compliant, for nothing more than invoking a constitutional right, then how the fuck do you think he treats those he has occasion to arrest for real crimes? This is the exact type of piece of shit that would shoot someone he doesn't need to, that would abuse someone already in cuffs and secured if they hurt his fucking feelings. Do you think he cares about rights and constitutional protections of the accused? I think you're a fucking stupid if you do. There you go. Those are my opinions. If you're not a cowardly, rights-violating, tyrannical, oath-breaking, ignorant, blind order-following, traitorous piece of human fucking feces with a badge, I support you. I'm still on your side, and I'll back you. However, unlike copsuckers, I don't blindly support or back anything. So if you're an Officer Nosbusch, I'm just waiting to read about you receiving exactly what your kind deserves. His kind is the problem in your profession, and I have the same concern for his safety, his life, and his property that, in my opinion, he proves he has for his oath, rights of the innocent, and or rights of the accused, as well as the respect he has for the Constitution. Fuck him. Yeah, I know, it's gone long. You'll get the fuck over it or you won't. My final opinion is that he is a coward, and he escalated a traffic stop for speeding to the point he removed me from a vehicle, admitted he considered my invoking of a constitutional right to be uncooperative, used his claim as further substantiation of his actions to disarm me, all because of two reasons: contempt of cop due to my recording, and my refusing to cower to his perceived worth and superiority by invoking my constitutional right to not bear witness against myself. Further, his tactics suck, which is good for anyone out there analyzing weakness of tyrannical bullies to be exploited at some point, and his grasp on who is or is not a threat based upon the totality of circumstances was shit. I assume he believes it's okay to disarm every person he contacts despite an allegation being an allegation and not a conviction, and despite it being a traffic stop for speeding. My final comment is this. This looks like the same Nosbusch to me. I believe it is. I could be wrong. And I believe, from what I read, that a guy, as shown in the story here, decided to take a shot at Nosbusch at one point, but then later apologized. And I think the only fucking thing he should have apologized for was his bad aim. So there you go, Nosbusch. Congratulations. You treated someone like a criminal who actually would have tried to stop to aid you, were some real criminal trying to end your fucking watch. All because you wanted to prove your disdain for someone invoking a constitutional right, your contempt of cop, and your cowardly fucking soul. You have no honor, and you don't deserve that badge. And I hope somebody snatches it off of you one day and shoves it down your fucking throat. That's it, and I'm moving on. Unsub, thumbs down, and cry me a fucking river.
He said you don't answer questions, so you're already being a little uncooperative. He said you don't answer questions, so you're already being a little uncooperative.